those who watch and take a look at the AFC playoff picture, Nate.
Yeah, that's right, JB. You have the Broncos. They want to hold on to that #1 seed. They face the Jags in a big one, the Patriots. With the Bills winning, the Pats, they need to win. And then you have the Jags. They're top of the South with the Texans on their heels, and then the Steelers the same with the Ravens. So, Matt, what do we got in the NFC North?
All right. Well, in the NFC North, we got Chicago on
NFC.
top. But in the NFC playoff picture, Seattle, Philadelphia, and L.A. have clinched playoff berths. Carolina moves on top of the NFC South with their win over the Bucs. We've got Detroit coming up here in a bit. That is a critical game to keep pace in that wild card hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's talking about the Buffalo Bills. I mean, probably not a clean game, I would say, by any measure, but I thought that defensively they got after Shedeur, particularly in the second half with the blitz, made him uncomfortable in the pocket. And again, it was a running game. Josh Allen did not turn the football over. When he has not turned the football over all year, they have won every one of those games. So, again, he doesn't try to do too much, but he just does enough to keep them going with his legs, with his arm. And James Cook, I mean, you can't say enough about what he's done in this game and what he's done for this football team all year long. 100 yards in the first half, not as much in the second half. But again, you can see leads the National Football League with 9 games of 100-plus yards. This team goes through the run game, goes through James Cook and Josh Allen. This guy's a special guy with what he's able to do. Watch him right here, the cut, the speed, the acceleration. He's got great vision. I think that's the thing you love about this guy. He can stop on a dime. He can jump cut with anybody. And then he gets into the open. You just can't catch him. His speed takes over from there. Very dynamic player with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, you're right. There's certain runners, when they get the ball in their hands, they're looking at the defenders, and they're usually hit by the defenders. James Cook is always keeping his eyes upfield where the next move should be or where the lane is, and his body follows suit. You can make the argument that he's the most consistent player on this team.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it. This game is anchored by a strong running game, and then when Josh uses his legs and takes care of the football, this is just a tough game to beat. Ugly win? Sure. I mean, listen, it's December football.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
A dub is a dub.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we got to give Joe Brady some credit, their offensive coordinator. I think this has been a shift in how they play offensive football. They have gone from a team that's reliant on Josh to being able to spin it around and throw it to some of these guys out in space. But they are a power run football team now. We saw the flip to the edge, but most of the day it was downhill running. I give Joe a lot of credit in shifting into that direction.
Who actually thought about the number of victories versus losses that Sean McDermott would get with or without glasses?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, folks, and we welcome you back to the NFL Today update as we take a look. Those of you who were watching, Kansas City Chiefs and Tennessee. Tennessee comes away with the victory, 26-29. Cam Ward gets the win over the Chiefs, and I guess we should be expecting these kind of challenges for Kansas City down the stretch.
Yeah, I just give a lot of credit to the Tennessee Titans for Cam Ward. These guys have been playing like this all year long. Jeffrey Simmons, a big play in the first half of this game. And we keep talking about Cam Ward, his development with where he's at. He's flashes some things, maybe not as consistent as you would want them.
Yeah.
But the people around him, the experience is invaluable for him moving forward in terms of where he's at, because he flashes some very good plays a lot of times.
I was going to say, you can say these games don't matter, and they don't matter for the outcome of this season. It matters a lot for Cam Ward.
There you go.
It matters a lot for his progression. You talk about it today. 2 touchdown passes, really good completion percentage, over 200 yards passing. I've looked at him all year and thought his toughness has never been in question. He shows up week after week and answers the bell. His consistency is starting to get a little bit better. So I look at it as this really matters for a young player like this, and this can lead to productive planning in the offseason for him as they get a new staff coming in. But there's a place for him to take off.
And Mike McCoy's done a great job. But these guys are playing hard week in and week out. He took over as the interim head coach. He's got these guys playing very, very well.
Yeah, it's the school of the hard knocks.
Yes.
My man has been through it. He's been under duress all season long. Every single game we see him running for his life, which, gives him the ability to, one, show his legs and then throw off of different pivots. He has made some really impressive throws. I mean, some of the best throws we've seen all season. But that gives me hope that when he does have a solid offensive line and a good offensive scheme and can drop back in a clean pocket and really have time to just settle his feet, go through his progressions, and make plays. With what I saw this year, I feel like his future is really bright.
I think there's one other player who's in a similar situation and an organization who's in a similar spot, and that was on our network today, the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Shuck is doing the same thing. I think consistently showing up, showing his toughness. Kellen Moore's doing a very good job of keeping that organization together,
100%.
keeping them moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
A shout out to Kellen as well.
Yeah, I mean, finishing the season strong has a lot to do with how you go into the next year, and he's done that the second half of this season.
Yeah, and they let the young fella throw that rock.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to figure out what you got.
30-some pass attempts, that's a ton.
Yeah.
I just hope Cam Ward gets a little rest after the season, because one thing's for sure, he's in shape. Yeah. The way they run up.
Definitely is.
Well, Matt Ryan was talking about what Kellen Moore is doing there with the Saints. They come away victorious over the New York Jets, 29-6. And a lot of folks were cheering on Mr. Cam Jordan down there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the career that Cam has had and whether or not this was his last home game as a New Orleans Saint. I'm the recipient of a lot of the sacks in that dome.
Yeah.
And he had a couple more today, which was impressive. We were talking about Tyler Shuck to the audience that just joined us before.
Threw the ball 50 times, man.
Yeah, his performance today I thought was rock solid. You talk about throwing rhythm and timing out routes right there to Chris Olave. You talk about dropping back and then navigating this pocket, throwing the ball down the sideline in between defenders. He does that very well right there. And again, all of this from the middle of the pocket, going down over the top, finds an open Chris Olave, which is what you want to see when you're a young quarterback. Guys running wide open. But you said it, Nate. Almost 50 pass attempts, 49 pass attempts right there, over 300 yards passing, but a clean sheet. No INTs, no turnovers. That part of it is huge for a young player. I think there's something to build on with him right here. It's good to see Chris Olave starting to play good football again as well, because this is a dynamic pass catcher on the outside.
And it helps when a quarterback is throwing the ball as much as he is. You saw that touchdown and him recognizing where to go immediately. And you said, it's good to see that when you're a young quarterback, seeing guys run wide open. But it's a lot easier said than done. I know it's a simple play, but when you can recognize the coverage, you understand schematically where you're supposed to go with the ball, and then it turns out that the play comes open just like you practice it, you want to see a young guy make that throw within rhythm, and you can see week by week Shuck is getting more and more comfortable in this offense. And just being a pro quarterback, it takes a little bit of time, especially when you're playing for a team that is struggling, that isn't playing for anything.
And they've just won 3 games in a row,
there you
2
go.
of them against divisional opponents. So I'm going to tell you right now, so they are going to finish this season and trying to finish this season on a high.
That's a big deal, Coach.
A real big deal, particularly for a guy like Tyler Shuck, who came in the second half of this year and he took over quarterback. The growth he's gone through, the growth the team has gone through, that's something you can take into the offseason and build on to next year, no question.
All right, this is a doubleheader Sunday that we have here.
Back.
Yeah, whenever I was doing Nate's Monday morning shows, we stopped doing whatever Nate was teaching me with it.
The handshake?
I mean, but these guys, I mean, talking about
they got one for every teammate.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, you know what? We talked about styles making fights, certainly in the world of boxing. Styles will certainly make the difference in this game with Pittsburgh as well, too, in terms of contrasting styles.
Yeah, and I think this is still going to be a game of running the trenches. You're talking about, again, a team that likes to run the football in the Detroit Lions, a team that's had trouble stopping the run, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it'll be a lot be determined there. This Pittsburgh Steelers team got to get off to a good start. They're not a team that can come from behind, so I think getting off to a good start and scoring early will be a very, very important part of this game.
You said it, JB, styles make fights. Sometimes you got to dictate the style. I think Detroit, if you want to play this game the way you want to play it, you want to get into a track meet. You want to get this into who can score the most points. We look at the numbers right here in the quarterback comparison. Clearly the advantage to the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, more yards, more touchdowns, less interceptions. Top 3 in those 2 categories coming into the game today. But they also have the ability to be explosive in the run game. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, I think you want to make this game as short as possible. Limit the number of possessions. Try and make it ugly. Try and make it physical. And try and limit the number of opportunities Detroit has on the offensive side of the ball to go score points.
Yeah, this is a heavyweight bout. And I'm not talking about in the Anthony Joshua or Jake Paul way. I'm talking about old school, late 80s, early 90s. These are 2 fighters that, with Detroit, there's a lot of punches and bunches. And like you said, they're going to get a lot of plays out there, put the ball in the hands of their playmakers, and try to make it a track meet. On the flip side, you have Aaron Rodgers, and like we always say, the last thing to leave is a puncher's strength. So he can hit you with a shot at any time that changes the complexion of the game. Now, they're going to kind of pepper the ball down the field. Kenneth Gainwell has always been that guy that kind of gets the offense going when they struggle. But this is a game that really is about dictating one style and opposing that on the other defense.
And the Pittsburgh offense has come into its own these last couple of weeks. Why? The deep ball. The depot of DK Metcalf has
Yeah.
come back into the offense again, particularly on the outside. And right now, we know the Detroit Lions, they're limited in the back end because a lot of the injuries they've had have been in the secondary. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to do that, because that has been the thing that's propelled this offense the last few weeks, has been the depot of DK Metcalf.
And let's be very clear. If it's one-on-one coverage, that ball's going up.
Yeah.
That's old school football. You know that. I mean, you had a guy like Julio Jones.
Yep.
Listen, you don't overcomplicate it.
No. You make it as simple as you can. If he's one-on-one, the ball's going up in the air. I think we can all agree that both defenses, both Detroit and Pittsburgh, have probably been disappointing on balance for the entire year. I think whichever one of these defenses starts to step up, and there's injuries on the Detroit side that they've got to overcome, but whichever one, and same being said for the Steelers as well, guys that they're not going to have available to them, whichever one of these units steps up and is able to kind of slow down on the other side, I think is the advantage in this game today.
Yeah, and what I saw from this Detroit offense early in the season, there wasn't as much fluidity as I saw last year. But you're starting to see this offense really take shape, get